No matter what form of visual media you're consuming, be it television, movies, video games, cartoons, there exists a wall, a barrier that the characters never address. This is the fourth wall, which is the very screen you're looking through. Addressing the fourth wall breaks the immersion of the world, so it's often forbidden. Often. There have been times where characters become a little too self-aware for their own good. So today, we're going to be breaking the fourth wall and taking a look at the 7 most insane fourth wall breaks in kid shows. Henry and June literally try to break the fourth wall. Kicking things off is perhaps one of the most bizarre Nicktoons to ever grace our screens, or rather our fourth walls. Kablam was a variety show that had a plethora of different and amazing art styles for each of its different segments, with the main segments being hosted by Henry and June, 2 comic book style characters. Being the hosts of the show, Henry and June are, by default, aware of their status of being on a TV show, and regularly speak to the viewer. However, that is nothing compared to this episode. In the season 4 episode, The Best of Both Worlds, Henry and June discover photographs of the real world and decide to go there.
Welcome back to the Henry and June Get Real Expedition,
where I figured out a brilliant plan to get us to the real world. Observe.
Eventually, they buy tickets at Get Out of Town Travel Agency, but run into some problems. In fact, every segment is about them trying to break into the real world, but something messes up every time, almost as if the universe is trying to stop them from doing so. Eventually, the 2 of them give up, until they come across a door that says Real World. They stumble into our world and turn into real children. They jump onto bikes and are excited to venture into the unknown, until they fall off and experience real world pain. They scramble back into the safety of the cartoon world, where they relish in the fact that they were the first 2 cartoon characters to make it into the real world. Well, until their boss, Mr. Big, orders a pizza from the real world. The usual, as the delivery man calls it. Yeah, Henry and June weren't the first characters to break the fourth wall, and they certainly won't be the last. Arthur switches places with the viewer. One may think that a tame show like Arthur wouldn't have a fourth wall break, but that would be naive. In the season 5 episode, You Are Arthur, Arthur is reading Treasure Island and envisions himself as Long John Silver. He then thinks about pretending to be someone else, and decides to switch places with the viewer.
I have an idea. Why don't you imagine what it's like to be me for a day, and I'll imagine what it's like to be you.
From this point on, the episode becomes a point of view episode, where you experience everything through the eyes of Arthur. The experience comes complete with eye blinking and camera wobbling as Arthur moves. Of course, Arthur is still Arthur and narrates his day as it happens to him, so it's not like you really are him, but he still calls out the viewer, so that's, breaking the fourth wall. He signs up for a 3-kilometer race and trains with DW, Timmy, and Tommy, all from his point of view. It gets pretty weird when Buster apparently notices the viewer.
Is there someone inside your head watching everything you do on a TV set?
Cut it out.
It's not consistent though. There are times when the episode just switches back to a normal camera view whenever it feels like it. It's a weird example of breaking the fourth wall, since it technically is referencing reality in the viewer, but it's still treated like a normal episode. Eventually, Arthur finishes the race after helping Muffy out, and is on the newspaper. Mojo Jojo hijacks the show. In the Powerpuff Girls, the narrator is an omnipresent voice that seems to always know what's going on. In fact, he might be the one that controls the story. So, what would happen if someone were to take this power from him, and gain control of everything that happens in the show? And what if that person was the evil mastermind, Mojo Jojo? That's exactly what happens in the season 6 episode, Simeon Says. The episode starts out like normal, with the narrator talking about the city of Townsville, until he's beaten up off screen by none other than Mojo Jojo. The godlike power of the narrator is immediately realized by Mojo, as he turns the sunny, beautiful day into a horrible rainstorm just by saying it. The Powerpuff Girls decide to go to the city to investigate the sudden change in weather, not knowing that Mojo Jojo was actually the one who decided that they would be going to the city.
At least it's not raining.
That's not a bad idea.
Mojo forces the girls to become criminals, making them steal diamonds and fight each other.
And without further ado, they destroy each other.
as the girls fight amongst themselves. One of their stray laser beams hits Mojo Jojo's volcano lair, where the control panel he's using to control the story is. Free from his control, the girls go out and do what they do best: beat the shit out of Mojo. With the day saved, the girls think the episode is over, before they hear muffled noises coming from one of Mojo's closets. Inside the closet, they find the narrator.
Ow! Oh, girls, thank goodness it's you! I can finally end this nightmare! So, once again, the day is saved, thanks to the Powerpuff Girls!
I knew something was missing. Yep. Good night, folks.
The Bat-Mite decides to cancel his show. Batman the Brave and the Bold was pretty bizarre. It took a lot of the comedic tones of the 60s show and amped them up to 11. It was an unashamed comic book cartoon, and the finale is one of the craziest showcases of that, going beyond and breaking the fourth wall in perhaps one of the most craziest examples in cartoon history. For some added context, let's talk about Bat-Mite. This weird imp thing is obsessed with Batman, and comes from the fifth dimension. He wields technology that is completely incomprehensible to us third dimension idiots. If anyone's gonna break the fourth wall in a Batman cartoon, it's probably going to be this guy. Episode 65 of the series, the finale titled Mitefall, begins with a parallel universe version of 1865 where Batman foils the assassination of President Lincoln. It's here where Bat-Mite immediately breaks the fourth wall, commenting on how tired and over the top the show has become. Like most Batman fanboys, he wants something darker, something edgier. So he decides to make the show as bad as possible, so the network would have to cancel it and replace it with something closer to Batman the Animated Series. After reading up on how shows have jumped the shark in the past, he decides to cram the show with as many cliches as he can possibly find. His first course of action was to recast the voice actor who played Aquaman with Ted McGinley, a joke that no kid will understand. Ted McGinley played Roger Phillips on Happy Days, a character that replaced a much more popular character after the actor left the show. He then added in a new love interest, an annoying Scrappy-Doo nephew sidekick, toy brands that interfered with the direction of the show, and perhaps the most heinous addition, guns. Bat-Mite really wants the show dead. And he succeeds. The show gets cancelled, and he fades away from existence. The series ends as Batman and the many superheroes and guest stars who have appeared on the series have a party to celebrate the series. And as one final goodbye, the crew members take apart the Batcave set in the background. The Ed Boys break reality. Here's a show with no rules. Ed, Ed and Eddie thrives on pure cartoon physics. It's the life force of the show. It literally cannot exist without it. However, fourth wall breaks were far and few in between the sheer insanity of the show. Maybe a little nod to the audience or an animation reference here or there. But in the season 2 episode 1 + 1 = Ed, shit completely hits the fan. The episode begins pretty normally, with Eddie being woken up by Ed, asking him all sorts of questions like if the light in the fridge stays on even when it's closed. After keeping him up all night, a fed up Eddie takes Ed over to Double D's. There we see Double D taking apart a radio, leading Eddie to hatch a get-rich-quick scheme where they take things apart. They begin doing so, eventually leading them to Rolf's house, where they take apart his chicken pen. While Rolf talks with them, Ed manages to somehow turn a tree completely flat. Shortly afterwards, Eddie manages to make his way behind the silhouetted houses in the background. Double D is alarmed by this and tries to make sense of it all, while Ed manages to get underneath the asphalt. Eddie then eats the goddamn sun, thrusting the cul-de-sac into nighttime. They come across Jimmy, scared by the sudden darkness, and pull apart a piece of fabric on his shirt, taking away his entire outline, causing him to melt. Physics and reality just continue to be broken, as Double D remarks that they are close to answering the all-important question. The boys find themselves in a new realm where nothing is bound by earthly limitations. An incredibly trippy scene follows, including moments where the Eds come out of Kevin's eye, Naz appears with the body of a purple reptile, and of course a three-headed wolf coming from behind a wall of static. Reality is broken, and the Eds are now at the center of the universe. They inflate a cloud and just look upon the chaos they brought. A pencil pops the cloud, and they fall back into reality, with not a single outline out of place. The episode ends with the status quo reinstated, and reality is set back into place. Whatever reality Ed and Eddie takes place in. The Teen Titans meet their voice actors and animators. It might be a little unfair to put Teen Titans Go on this list, since it's a show that does not care about its fourth wall. There's many episodes where they break it, such as the aptly titled episode The Fourth Wall, where the Titans find out that they're on a TV show and discover the existence of the original Teen Titans series. Yeah, they watch an alternate universe version of themselves.
What? That's how it ends? And there is no sixth season to resolve the plots hanging from the cliff?
You ended that show? You monster.
If that's not enough fourth wall breaking for you, then perhaps the Self-Indulgent 200th episode spectacular will scratch that itch. Despite its name, it's actually the 201st episode, but whatever. This two-part episode starts with the Titans sitting around doing nothing when suddenly their world starts disappearing. Using their knowledge of the fourth wall, they're able to break through it to figure out what's going on. They end up in Warner Brothers studio and meet the entire crew of Teen Titans Go. Seriously, the entire crew. The directors, showrunners, storyboard artists, character designers, producers, even their own voice actors.
Hi, I'm Tara. You do my voice? You don't sound like me. I'm versatile.
I used to do this voice a lot. Yeah, I wish you'd seen it.
And pretty Pegasus. Whoa.
It gets pretty meta when the crew explains that they're enjoying the break, since production on Teen Titans Go is pretty stressful. They soon accept the fact that they aren't real, and begin to fade away, until part 2, where they search for Michael and Aaron. Together, they write a script for an episode and manage to bring the show back. So I guess the Teen Titans can now be credited with writing their own show. The cast of Chowder start a car wash to fund their own animation. Personally, I think the stuff that Teen Titans Go did was crazier, but if there's one show known for breaking the fourth wall, it's Chowder. Before we get into it, there are a few honorable mentions, such as the legendary bit where they acknowledge the Cartoon Network logo.
Not from there. Get closer. Closer? Okay. There.
What about that one?
Yeah, that one doesn't come off. I tried.
And when Schnitzel pretty much meets God.
Hey Schnitzel, it's me, your creator. Listen, dude, I'm telling you, you gotta go back to Mung's.
But there's one fourth wall breaking moment that I think takes the cake. It's the one where the show loses its budget and the voice actors have to start a car wash to fund their own animation. In the episode Shopping Spree, Truffles become sick, meaning that Mung, Chowder, and Schnitzel must take care of the kitchen, as well as the money box. When the Thing Bing Ling Ding machine is broken, they must go to the mall to buy a replacement. However, they are tempted by the sinful urges of the mall, and cave in, buying all sorts of useless shit they don't need, turning them into beautiful, poor idiots. With no more money, Mung realizes that not only can they not afford to buy food for the kitchen, but they also can't afford the animation.
What are we gonna do?
Rather. No, we are not going home. We've got to save the show.
But where are we gonna get the money to pay for it?
There's a solid minute of them just washing cars. It's awesome. Once they get enough money, they can finally fund the animation again, and the show and the plot pick up right where they left off. It's weird that Tara Strong was even part of this, considering that her character, Truffles, is supposed to be sick and isn't supposed to know that Mung Doll used up all the money, but whatever. Seeing everyone together was great, and as many have said before, this was the only time that live action was ever funny on Cartoon Network. Chowder didn't have a fourth wall. It didn't need one. A show like this deserves only the finest 3 walls.